Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, and online is Wootini here with another Gay Gamer video podcast for everyone. This week I went to the movies and I saw Venom: The Last Dance, which is the final movie in the Venom trilogy. I'm assuming it's the final one, because this one just, I feel like their hearts weren't in it. Like it reeked of contractual obligation to just finish the trilogy and get it on screen and call it a day. Even Tom Hardy looked bored. I mean, technically Eddie is supposed to be exhausted and at the end of his rope through the whole movie, after everything that has been happening to him. But it was just a little sad. Basically, the plot is Eddie is on the run, and he and Venom decide they're going to go to New York City, where he's going to somehow clear his name. It's not really clear, but it's also not important because they don't get any further than Nevada and Las Vegas and Area 51, because there's this big bad guy who apparently created these symbiotes, and they imprisoned him on this planet so that he couldn't destroy the universe, which was his plan. And he has these big giant alien spiders that are supposed to go and track down the symbiotes because he needs the codex, which is the key to releasing himself from his prison. This also doesn't really matter. It's just a MacGuffin to get things going. Because basically Venom and Eddie, when they are together and being proper Venom, that's when the codex appears, because Venom is the codex. So the alien monster is after Venom, and so it is a chase, although it's not really an exciting chase. It's just sort of there. And there's like, even at the climax of the film, when there's like multiple symbiotes and multiple alien monsters, it's just this mash of CGI, and you're just like, okay, I don't care about any of these characters, whatever. So yeah, it was, I didn't have high expectations and was still kind of disappointed by this one. I mean, I didn't love the first two, but this was definitely ending with more of a whimper than a bang. It's just not as funny, and it's not as exciting. It's not as interesting. Like, there's one scene where like Venom like jumps from animal to animal. So you get like a frog and a bird and whatever, and but it's real quick. He just venomizes these aliens as he travels across the area, but it's really quick and it doesn't really amount to anything. And the end credits, which you can watch, have their animated Venom animals, which are more interesting than that scene. Also, there's a scene where Venom knocks out this guy so that Eddie can steal his tuxedo and get into a ritzy casino in Vegas. And I'm just like, the tuxedo is black and white. Like, couldn't Venom have just sort of become a tuxedo? He could have made a tuxedo and mirrored what that guy was wearing and just left Eddie's hands and head out, and then he could walk in. I feel like that's how Venom's powers work, but maybe that's only in the comics. I don't know. It's not really important. You really probably shouldn't think about the movie that hard. So, yeah. It is an ending. It's not a great ending, but it does seem to be done. There are two end credit sequences, one in the mid credits, which is just sort of trying to tease a sequel that will never happen. And then the very end, if you stay through the entire epically long credits, I don't know, I went on my phone, it took fucking forever. The very end credit sequence is completely useless and stupid, so don't stay for that. If you do go see this in the theaters, which you really shouldn't waste your money, don't stay to the very end. It's just not worth it. Just look it up online. It's not worth it. Also, I saw it in IMAX 3D, and the 3D was good during like the scenes with the symbiotes and the tentacles flying around and stuff like that, and the alien monsters would like gnash their teeth at the camera and like jump out at you, kind of. So that was kind of effective, but only for those scenes. The rest of it was just sort of like, whatever. But at least I had some visual something to look at while I was not being enthralled by the story. So yeah, give it a miss. see it on TV, whatever. Um, as for games, I've still been playing a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley because I'm doing the Star Path. And then another fucking Daisy's Boutique showed up. That's the third one. And I'm like, God damn it. So I'm like, well, I'm not doing this because I wanted to see if there was another one behind it that maybe I could do two at once like I did before, like I mentioned in the last episode. However, there will not be another Daisy's Boutique because I've now done all of the... I haven't done them all, but like I'm now at the point where like I've got like 5 left, so I know that I've reached the end of the list of duties. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. There will be no more Daisy's Boutiques. I just have to do these 2, which is annoying. So, but thankfully I still have like a month, so there's no rush, which is good because I would like to play less Disney Dreamlight Valley so that I can play more Europa. I still didn't play it as much as I should have probably because I was, still like watching movies and stuff. It's Halloween. So I did not finish Europa yet, but I am very close to the end at this point, I think. And in the back end of this game, I have encountered the first janky control that I think these reviews were talking about. Because so far everything has been fine. I'm just like, I don't have a problem with the controls. Except for this one bit, every area has some kind of a puzzle that you have to do. Not every area, but there's area, like at the end, like you'll have to solve some kind of, rudimentary puzzle, like lighting torches or activating cubes or whatever, in order to open the door to the next area. And in this case, there were a couple sections with these balls that you had to push into a certain area in order to activate the door. And pushing these balls was not great. Every so often you might lock onto it and be able to push it directly where you want to go, but 90% of the time you'd be pushing it and it would just sort of roll off to the side and you couldn't really like grab it properly. So that was a little frustrating, but it wasn't like game breaking or anything. It was just sort of annoying more than anything else. The controls are fine. Like there was one section where I actually struggled a little, but that was due to me being shitty at platformers. Because there was one area where you pass through the purple crystals and it sucks away your flying power, so you're stuck just doing the platforming with jumping. You can't fly and cheat your way through it. And it was this series of cubes, and like some of the blue ones would disappear periodically, and then the yellow ones would like appear and disappear as you jumped, so you had to make sure that it wasn't there before you jumped on it, because when you tried to jump on it, it would then reappear. And if it was there, when you tried to jump on it, it would disappear and you would fall. And that was a little frustrating because I suck at platforming, and it was like trying to figure out like, okay, I need this and then I need that, and then trying to figure it out before the blue one you're standing on disappears and you fall. And I had to do that like 5 or 6 times, maybe 6 or 7. There was one time where I got like all the way to the end and I had like one more jump onto one more cube before I would get to actual solid ground again. And I missed. And I had to start all the way over at the beginning. But it still wasn't like super hard, and it wasn't like you fall and die and you have to start over every time. It was just sort of like annoying because I suck at platformers. And I'm sure that most people who would play this game would just breeze right through it with no problem. I just don't have those skills. So that one was totally on me. And I have found some new areas. There was some snowy areas that were kind of pretty. And then there was this one that was like this underwater area, except it didn't feel like you were actually underwater. Like it just looked like there were, plants and things, and it felt like you were underwater, even though you're not actually underwater, you're still in the air. But there was this great flying sequence, because sometimes there's, like an obstacle course and you fly through the screen and you have to like avoid obstacles and stuff. It's not really that hard. And it doesn't kill you if you miss something or get blown up by a bomb or whatever. But it ended with it turning to a side view, and you flew alongside these beautiful giant whales that were just sort of floating through the space around you, and it was just very lovely. And I enjoyed that immensely. But I know that I am at the end of the game because not only because I'm at like chapter 12 or whatever, like 11 or 12 or something, and there's like 15 or 16 in the game, I know that I am at the end because the goal is to reach the floating city. And the last thing that I did when I played it yesterday before shooting today's episode, I got through to this. I was doing a flying sequence, and at the end of the flying sequence, I landed at the very base of the floating city. So I'm assuming that the last few levels are going to be me working my way up to the surface of the floating city, at which point the story will end, and there will be the reveal of whatever the story they're trying to tell. I honestly am not sure what I'm going to find when I get up there. We shall see. But I am glad that I am almost at the end of this game, because I just bought another one, right? What am I doing? But I saw that Sony was having a Halloween sale in the PlayStation Store, and I said, oh, that's different than the other sale, which I had already checked out and didn't find anything. And so I'm looking at the Halloween sale, which is all like, horror games and stuff. And they had The Quarry for like $9.57 or whatever they charged for it. It was under $10. Like with tax, it ended up costing me like $10 and change, like $10.35 or something. And because I'd been keeping my eye on The Quarry, because I did like Until Dawn and I wanted to play The Quarry, but I'm not paying $60 for it. And it had gotten down into the 20s, and I feel like at some point, like more recently, it's been like $17 or $18. Like it was just under $20, and I was tempted. But now the sale is ridiculous, and it's like under $10, and I'm just like, yes, please, I will buy that now, because it's perfect for Halloween. So what I want to do is try to finish Europa in the next couple of days, so that I can play The Quarry and be in a horror movie for Halloween. That's my plan. We'll see if it works. So come back next episode, and I will have some final thoughts on Europa, and I'll have some first impressions of The Quarry. I don't think I'll finish it. I mean, I don't remember how long Until Dawn was, but it's not long, but I don't tend to sit down and play games for like 3 hours straight. I don't have time for that. I don't know how people do that. So I probably won't be rushing through it. It's probably going to take me a couple of weeks at least. So we'll see how far I get when I film the next episode. See you then. Bye!